What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Geekiverse show. I'm Jeff Pavlak. I got Pete Hurt with me again today, and we're back to talk Shannara Chronicles. It's been 6 episodes that have debuted on MTV, and we're giving a little bit of a midterm review on the show. Pete,
Spoilers.
Yes,
spoilers.
That's very important. Spoilers here, spoilers there, spoilers everywhere. Okay, we're 6 episodes down, more than halfway through the show. What's the one big thought you got so far? How you feeling this one out?
I like it. I do. I think I still, after our first conversation of it, I still think it's visually beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that it's well written. I think that for the most part, like I still love the modern aspects of it, the costume design.
That's easily one of the best parts.
Yeah. No, and there is not one member of the cast that I feel is bad.
No.
I think that they're outstanding.
Absolutely not. I think everyone's doing a great job at the acting. I gotta say though, I'm a little disappointed so far.
You're disappointed because...
Okay, speak. Yeah, go ahead. Speak for me. I don't need to talk or anything.
Let me put words in your mouth.
That's
Jeffrey.
fine.
You are disappointed because they are not true to the source material.
Inaccurate. Very inaccurate.
Not inaccurate.
Yeah, completely inaccurate.
I know you better than you know yourself.
That may be true, but we'll talk about that for another time.
Why are you disappointed?
There's a number of reasons. I mean, if I was not a fan of the Shannara books, I don't feel like I would have any interest in the show because there's so much of it that I feel is just completely uninspired. We've had 6 episodes now, and the most action that we've seen are a couple seconds of the Reaper killing guys. You had in the Shannara series a wealth of monsters, creatures, other species that made for some really thrilling action sequences in the books. We haven't seen any of that yet. We've barely seen this demon army that is apparently descending on the 4 lands, and the extent of it is a distant shot where the Dagnamor is sitting on the Hoar Flats, where it's basically just a black wave of CGI characters. The characters keep talking about how the Dagnamor is coming, how the demons are going to overrun the 4 lands. We've seen 2 Furies. We have not seen anything of this threat that is apparently going to doom the entire 4 lands.
All right, I'll buy that.
I mean, the Reaper was cool. I'll give him that. The Reaper so far, I think, has done a really good job. I liked when he emerged from Draywood, showing the entire fort behind him, just devastated, everybody killed. I liked his appearance at PyCon. I thought that was cool. Yeah. But otherwise, I just feel like this show is missing so much of the adventure, so much of the spirit of the journey and the action from the book.
Well, I feel like you're getting the journey, but I feel like you're getting the journey parts that I think they're spending more time developing the relationships between the characters as opposed to the big picture of the. So I would agree with that. They have in this thing. This is 10 episodes.
That's right.
An hour apiece.
Yeah.
So they're making, and they said it. John Favreau said we're making a 10-hour movie. Is basically what it is. And any of the Lord of the Rings stuff, you had much more action in the 3-hour, 2.5 to 3 hour films than you're seeing in these when you have 10 hours to put it together. So I would agree with that, but I think I really like the characters. I think I like the characters better in some respects in this retelling than I did in the books.
Well, they definitely have more distinct identities and personalities.
Yeah.
Will in the book is very, I don't want to say the word generic, but he's simple.
He's vanilla.
Yeah, he's vanilla.
Yeah,
and he's very he's more outspoken. He's a little snarky at times. He's a smart aleck from time to time.
He's snarky and he's kind of a dope. At
he
times
is. Oh, he's
too.
he's
a
meathead.
Right. That is definitely not in any of the books, and I like that retelling of the whole thing. I like that kind of re-envisioning of him. But I am enjoying it. At first, when we first had our conversation, I said they changed how they gathered the chosen by turning it into like an obstacle course for blindfolded obstacle course for elves. Santa does the same thing at the North Pole every year.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
So
did you people know that? I didn't.
I'm starting to actually, when I decided at one moment that they called it the Shannara Chronicles, not the Elfstones of Shannara for a reason.
And we're seeing that after
Right.
the last couple
You know,
episodes.
Slanter
Yep.
isn't even in Elfstones.
Nope.
He's in Wish Song. So that was one of the things that I didn't like as much because that was a character that I kind of liked in Wish Song.
Oh, me too.
And they made the gnomes kind of these twisted, gross looking.
They're ugly.
Yeah, and
Makeup is fantastic, but they're ugly.
yeah. So that was one of the things that I don't like. But overall, I'm enjoying it and I'm treating it as if it's a new work altogether. That
Nice.
It's not the Elfstones.
I am a little interested to hear that you like it so much because one change that I really don't like that I felt you would have been on the same page with me with was the fact that Elfstones is a book that you could, present to a 12 or 11-year-old kid, and it would be okay. It would be acceptable for them. There's really no content in the book that is gratuitous, gross, anything like that. There's a few times where this show gets really, really gritty, and in my opinion, it's a little excessive. One thing that first came to mind was the gardener getting the sword through the head.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want a young adolescent seeing that. Most importantly, though, was Cephalo's attempted rape on Amberly. I was not cool with that at all.
Right. And I agree with that. But what I'll tell you in that is that this show is on at 10 o'clock at night on MTV. You see just as much gore, if not more, in Gotham at 8 o'clock on Fox.
That's true.
Right? So this is at least a late night show. They put it in the slot where this kind of visual content can be monitored more by mom and dad.
That's true. Just for me, that's disappointing that they're going that route because I felt like the books were a different kind of story. And that, there's so many TV shows that push the boundary for its content. Everyone wants to be Game of Thrones because, let's face it, there is an appeal in society today for that gritty, really edgy, almost mortifying stuff. People want to feel distraught when they're watching these shows. I didn't want Shannara to be that way. I thought Shannara was going to be different. It was going to be more family-oriented, and not family-oriented in the way that it talks down or panders to a young audience, but in the sense that a young adolescent could watch this and be just as enthused by it as people of our age. I'm 25. You're a little bit older.
A little bit older than that.
I felt like Shannara, the books were really for all ages. All ages could enjoy this fantasy adventure. I can't say this about the show.
But you could argue the same thing for Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, the books are way more tame than the visuals of the movies.
What content in the Lord of the Rings movies, though, would not be appropriate for an 11 or 12-year-old kid?
I absolutely think that some of those battle scenes are gory beyond gory.
And what's your definition of gory? Because there is no blood splatter in those. You don't see blood flying out of characters' bodies. There's only a couple moments where we see limbs going off, and they're very quick.
Well,
there is no attempted rape.
The attempted rape we will agree on 100%. It wasn't in the book, and I don't think that it's appropriate for anything ever.
Right.
I don't like to see that stuff on Criminal Minds.
And there's a lot of it on Criminal Minds.
And this isn't that.
Right.
This is not that. But the other stuff, this is what our society wants. That's the success of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Is absolutely an illustration of that kind of people want it.
Absolutely.
So
one thing I will say in just speaking positively about the show, I'm really impressed with how much I like Bandon. Bandon was a character who is not in the books at all.
Right.
He's starting to take up a very prominent role in this show. Has no part in the books, but I love him so far. I think he's a great addition to the cast.
What do you think so far right now? Second season?
What do you mean?
I mean, this is 10 episodes.
Okay.
There is certainly more than enough content to do another season of it.
Well, I feel it's gonna be very difficult to do what I would say is a deserving adaptation of Wish Song. What they've done with Slanter now. I don't want to give spoilers away for those who haven't read the books, but Slanter in the sequel to Elfstone's Shannara, Wish Song of Shannara, would not be doing what he did in the Shannara Chronicles TV show. So I feel like if they were to do an adaptation of Wish Song, they'd already be starting out with a interpretation that would not be for me.
They could also go backwards.
Oh, you mean going back to Sword of Shannara?
They could do Sword of Shannara.
I would be interested in that because I feel a lot of changes to that are actually necessary to make the story better.
Yeah.
Sword of Shannara was, for my taste, a little too much like the plot structure of Lord of the Rings, which is a very common but justified criticism of the Sword of Shannara book.
Well, I look forward to watching the last 4 episodes and then having a final wrap-up talk with you about what you think when the thing is said and done, and see whether there actually is it's harder to find ratings for things that are on MTV and those kind of channels than it is for ABC, NBC, CBS. So I'm
to my understanding, it's doing okay.
It's doing okay.
Okay.
And okay probably won't cut it for a second season because it's expensive. I mean, there is a lot of visual elements in this that are spectacular, but also come with a large price tag. So we'll have to see that.
I mean, shooting on set in New Zealand in those natural landscapes, that's not cheap.
No.
That's a lot more expensive than shooting in a Hollywood studio.
So, all right, we'll be back in 4 more weeks or so to finish this conversation about the Shannara Chronicles on MTV. Tuesday nights, 10 o'clock. If you're not watching it, you can watch it at MTV.com. Has all of the episodes on there. Just a quick plug for something we're doing here at the Geekiverse. We are hosting a showing of Rooster Teeth's The Laser Team movie. It's out in around the country in the sort of limited engagement where somebody has to host the show. We're hosting a show at Flicks Theater on Transit Road in Lancaster on March 8th. You can get your tickets. It's an online thing. We have to sell so many tickets before they'll even have us, so please get your tickets right now. There'll be a link here-ish.
Okay,
somewhere.
Hey, easy does it. Hey, easy. Hey, buddy. You saw what I did to Dan Joseph.
I did see that. So there'll be a link through the magic of whatever magic we do. There'll be a link here where you can buy your ticket. Please come out. We're going to shoot an episode of our podcast, have a little panel discussion before the show. The theater, the show starts 7:30. We're going to be in the theater a little earlier than that to be able to do that. So we hope you join us. Get your tickets now because we want to have the show. We need to sell the minimum amount of tickets, and then after that, these theaters are only a couple, 120, 140 people big. Those tickets are gone. They're gone. You can't walk in the day of the show if those tickets are gone. So, Jeff.
Yeah. Sorry. In the meantime, follow us on all our social media channels. We've got our YouTube channel, but we're also on Facebook /The Geekiverse. We're on Twitter and Instagram, _Geekiverse. I'm on Twitter myself, Jeffrey Pobbs. What about you, Pete?
At Pete Herr.
All right, yeah, guys, follow us along. We're going to keep talking Shannara Chronicles, and, when we come back and do our wrap-up of the show, maybe I'll be a little happier. Maybe I'll like it a little bit more. Less grumpy than this guy usually is. Probably not, but, he's the pinnacle of grumpy, so we'll see what happens.
# dude don't know grump.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. Enjoy, guys.